Good evening. This is Wallace Gator Bradley, President of United in Peace, Inc. And I want to let the world know, especially my viewing audience, this show is put together by none other than the chairman of United in Peace, Inc., none other than the director. She's the director and the producer of this show. And she's none other than my wife, Terry Marsh. I want to first off say, to God be the glory. We got a very interesting show today. A lot of things has happened. Tony Preckwinkle has put her name in a race to run for mayor. I'm going to say hooray, hooray. We had a first debate with the first debate we had is with the governor's debate that was on Channel 5, and they went after it. They want to know, you got the two guys, that's the libertarian, and the other guy is another Republican that's mad at the governor because they say he wasn't conservative enough. And both of those guys mad at Pritzker and Ronner because they say they have too much money. But one of the most important things for the voters in Illinois is to know that there are three candidates that's running against Ronner because he was a failure as a governor. And only one out that three can beat Ronner, and that is J.B. Pritzker. So let's vote for J.B. Pritzker for governor. Let's vote for the re-election of Secretary of State Jesse White. Let's vote straight Democrat and Ed, and let's make this a blue wave contest because we got to get rid of those Republicans, be they congressmen, governors, state reps, state senators, or senators. In 2018, November 6th. With that being said, let's move along because I'm sure a lot of you are aware that the state rested this case yesterday, Thursday. And people are asking, is that enough for a conviction? I say yes, it is. The evidence was overwhelming. When you have police officers that were on the scene, that didn't pour their guns, that didn't feel that this young man was a threat, Laquan was a threat, and here come this officer that felt like he can just come right in there, Mr. Van Dyke, Officer Van Dyke, and shoot that man, that young man 16 times. When you got police officers get on the stand who was there and said that that man wasn't a threat, pretty much they were saying that that officer didn't have justification to murder that young man. And even to the point for his partner to get on the stand and say that Van Dyke life was being threatened. And then the video comes on as they show to the jurors, and it shows something different. And that officer, Walsh, I think it was his name, he and two other officers have been indicted for misconduct, pretty much, because of that lie. I've seen cases where other individuals were being prosecuted and the prosecution went dead in on them. Bam, dead in on them. I've seen police cases where the prosecutor didn't go in on them. This case, I'm seeing where the prosecutor is presenting a strong case of the evidence that's being presented to show beyond a reasonable doubt that that officer should be found guilty for murder. With that being said, I know it's in the jury's hands, but one thing I know for sure, God is the one that will bring down justice. And I pray that he touched the jurors' hearts for them to come back with a guilty verdict. That's just my opinion. Okay? Because I believe if the public feel like they getting a fair shake, that whoever senselessly shoot or kill anyone, they should be apprehended. They should be fairly prosecuted. And if they're found guilty, they should be jailed. And the big story is County Board President, who is also the chairman of the Cook County Democratic Party, says that she didn't make the decision lightly. It wasn't a lightly decision that she made. She said, I don't make this decision lightly to run for mayor of the city of Chicago. A lot of people are glad that she made that decision. A lot of people believe that she is the most qualified one in the race who could be mayor and start off hitting the ground as a mayor. A lot of people in the business community feel like she should be mayor. She's the best choice. And I, for one, feel that she will be the right choice for the city of Chicago. The election is in February 2019. They got until November to turn in their petitions. I believe it's those who considering running and those who say they are running is a total of almost 20 plus candidates. Everybody got a right to run for mayor in the city of Chicago as long as they're a registered voter. But it's up to the voters to make the decision on who they feel will be the best candidate to run for mayor. I believe it's going to be a runoff, and we all have to make a decision between the top two. One of the things that County Board President Preckwinkle let it be known, she talked about the need for economic investment throughout the city, not just downtown. She talking about all 77 communities within the city of Chicago should be able to get the same interests in their community when it comes to development. A lot of people believe that's what they feel would be fair. She talked about the need for an elected school board and better schools. A lot of people in the city of Chicago have been demanding that for a long time. And she spoke as the teacher that she once was, but had the same passion within her heart. So a lot of the Chicago Teachers Union people, I can see them standing behind Cook County Board President, Chairman of the Cook County Democratic Party, Tony Preckwinkle. Gonna be a very interesting election. She talked about more police accountability and addressing the city's gun violence. She talked about police officers being held accountable for their actions, especially at the right time. When, because of Lisa Madigan, the Illinois Attorney General, and Mayor Rahm Emanuel coming together and put before a federal judge a decree where the federal judge will pick a monitor to make sure that there's reforms within the police department to make things right for the citizens of the city of Chicago and make the Chicago Police Department a better police department. That is right on time, because the next mayor, just like this mayor, and the aldermen and the city council are now talking about it or meeting with the Fraternal Order of Police about a new contract for the Chicago police that would make it where it wouldn't be so many loopholes where the police can get out of being accountable for their actions. And she was addressing the city's gun violence by tackling its root causes instead of relying on the incarceration of people. That's what's needed. The wonderful thing about this election is wide open. We haven't seen this in a long, long time. And it's going to be open for the aldermen, the 50 aldermen. It's almost like what I would call the Bernie Mac syndrome. Gator, what's the Bernie Mac syndrome? I'm glad you asked. That is, who you with? They're going to have to let people know who they with. There's going to be some slaters call. I see you calling. Could you please state your name and voice your opinion?
Yeah, this is James. Now, I watched Jesse Van Dyke trial, and I want to know what was Kim Fox and Andre Holmes. But then the media always talk about gang-related, but I ain't hear the media saying about police-related shooting and police murder.
Well, let me help you with that, James.
Okay.
Because the reason you weren't seeing Kim Fox, the state's attorney, because there's a special prosecutor. The guy that you're seeing prosecuting Van Dyke, that's why you don't see the state's attorney. And as far as Anthony Holmes has been out there on other issues. The Van Dyke trial is the straight trial. I happen to be there when they picked the last 3 people, or the last 3 alternates, to be on the jury. You know, I was there as a community person, and they allowed me to go back behind the chambers where they were interviewing the people who wanted to be on the jury. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
So what is happening now, the state, which is the prosecutor, they rest their case after presenting all their evidence. Okay? Then it's going to be Monday, it's going to be up to the defense lawyer that's representing Van Dyke to come and present his evidence. And then the state's attorneys will have a chance to come in and do a rebuttal after they hear what the defense put on. You see what I'm saying? So it ain't about Kim Fox, it's not about Andrew Holmes. It's about the engagement of the lawyer that's representing Van Dyke and Mr. I think his name is Monahan. Anyway, that prosecutor that's prosecuting Van Dyke. They got to present that evidence to the jury, and then the jury go back and they make the decision. So that's not about Kim Fox, and it's not about Andrew Holmes, man. You know what I mean? I want the people to understand this. And something else, we need to all, regardless of what the verdict is going to be, whether he get found guilty, we pray that those police officers that's defending John Burge, and they feel that Van Dyke was a good officer and what he did was justified, we pray that if he's found guilty, that they don't just go off the handle and arrest individuals illegally because they mad. And if he's found not guilty, it would be wrong for the city or those within the city to be in an uproar where they want to destroy the city. You know what I mean? Like they want to burn up the neighborhood and all that type of stuff. Just give them a chance to break into the stores to steal milk and beer and a TV and all that type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? I'm just saying, outpray Van Dyke's team. Van Dyke's team is praying that he be let go. I'm saying we need to pray more and more and more, and just pray that God make it where the jury find him guilty. That's just my opinion, and I respect everybody else's opinion. You know what I mean? So one of the things that made me say that is John Burge died here recently, and him and his crew were responsible for torturing a lot of individuals. Okay? And when you see the Fraternal Order Police Union stand up and say that John Burge was a good guy, he deserved all of that pressure, he deserved to go to jail. He was a crooked police officer that got his jollies, him and his crew, off of torturing African American men and some Hispanics with a cattle prod, with electric tools of individuals on their testicles. Like this individual in the middle, right here, Millsap. He ended up getting a reparations because the city council and the mayor voted and made a decision about having reparations. And he got $100,000. But what I want you to understand about Millsap, him and three other individuals had got tortured by John Burge's crew. Okay? I got tortured by John Burge's crew. And Millsap and another guy was acquitted. But Millsap was tortured so bad that he lost one of his testicles. This what this man did and his crew did. And because they tortured him and three other individuals to say that another guy by the name of Terrence Brooks, who ended up on death row because they was tortured to implicate him and themselves in a crime that they didn't have nothing to do with. The torture commission come back and say that them individuals was tortured by this man, and he did not go to penitentiary for torture. He didn't go to penitentiary for a crime. So you got Ivan Smith and Javan Deloney that's still in jail. They may end up getting a new hearing to get a new trial. And let's pray that God touch the individuals to free them. In Terrence Brooks' case, Kim Foxx has the power and the authority to free him because he didn't get any special prosecutors. They got hearings coming up. One of the guys, the assistant state's attorney by the name of Charles Chuck Burns, who's now a judge, was one of the assistant state's attorneys that went and got Ivan Smith with 2 police officers who was found out, that we found out later, was involved in all these tortures, including the torture of the individuals involved in this case. He's now a judge. But a federal document that was involved in helping 4 guys from Inglewood that had got tortured to get free because of the actions of the assistant state's attorney, Mr. Burns, who's now a judge. And they're going to be able and should be able to call him as a witness in this hearing. So those are things that we got to pay attention to. There is no other system that we can get the wrongs turned into rights. To help release those that's wrongfully convicted. There is no other alternative. So don't beat up on Kim Foxx. She didn't create the corruption in the state's attorney's office. That was State's Attorney Daley, State's Attorney Devine, State's Attorney Nita Alvarez, bad police officers. Corrupt police officers. And that's one of the reasons why I support J.B. Pritzker. Because he's against wrongfully convicted individuals to the point that he had created an endowment with Northwestern University to help the individuals that you're seeing coming out of jail on the TV that's been locked up 10, 5, 15, 20-something years, being released because they was wrongfully convicted. So Terrence Brooks need to be free, Ivan Smith need to be free, and Javan Deloney need to be free because of John Burge. And then when you see in the newspaper where even the mayor, Rahm Emanuel, aldermen, all of them are saying that the union, the Fraternal Order of Police union, is wrong. The mayor said the union is wrong for defending John Burge. So when you see that, we got to be concerned that it's important with this next mayoral election in 2019. But don't lose sight of this election that's happening November 6th, 2018. Early voting is September 27th. And if the date is September 21st, we got 6 days. I got to wrap it up. I want to say this. Don't choke, vote November 6th, 2018, and you can start September 27, 2018. And let's make it a blue wave. To God be the glory.